What lurks in the shadows of an abandoned mill? When five friends sneaked into the Fisher Mills, they found more than dust and silence. Strange noises and a scream that shook the night made them run for their lives. What was that haunting presence inside? Watch if you dare. This is no ordinary exploration. The harrowing urban exploration at Fisher Mills. Back in 2013, Fisher Mills on Harbor Island was a forgotten place, smelling of salt water, diesel, and old grain dust. The mill had been closed since 2006 after a dust explosion, and security welded steel plates over its doors. But rumors said explorers found gaps to sneak inside. One clear, moonless night, my friends Marcus, Logan, Ben, Eli, and I met near the West Seattle Bridge. We parked quietly, the freeway noise hiding our engines. The mill looked silent and eerie, its metal walls peeling like fish scales, covered in fresh graffiti. Logan found a gap in the fence and crawled through, followed by the rest of us. We slipped in through a missing padlock on a side door, stepping into thick darkness that smelled like mildew, wet wheat, and old engine oil. Our headlamps barely cut through the dust as we moved carefully, whispering to avoid alerting any patrol. We planned to explore the first floor, climb the stair tower to the roof, take pictures, and leave before 11. The mill was abandoned but alive with shadows and secrets. This was the start of a night none of us would ever forget. As we moved deeper into the mill, the floor creaked softly beneath our feet. The packing room was filled with split sacks of flour, like drifts of snow swirling with every step. Marcus snapped photos with his cheap Nikon, capturing every broken window and rusted machine. Suddenly, Logan stopped and raised his hand. He whispered he heard something. At first, I only heard the building's own noises, metal groaning in the wind, water dripping from cracked pipes. But then came a new sound, a slow scraping noise, like a heavy cloth bag sliding across concrete, followed by uneven footsteps. The noise came from the tall stair tower, a steel cage climbing 3 floors in the building's center. Ben whispered it might be a raccoon, but Marcus wasn't convinced. The steps sounded too heavy, deliberate. We wondered if a homeless person had moved inside or another group of explorers was nearby. Carefully, we crept toward the stairwell, hearts pounding, avoiding broken glass and rusted metal. The gate was hanging open, its bolts long gone. We shone our flashlights up and down the stairs. Nothing moved. Then the shuffling stopped, as if whoever was there chose to wait silently. The tension was thick, our breaths caught in the stale air. This was no ordinary night inside Fisher Mills. Suddenly, the silence shattered. A deep, blood-curdling scream erupted from the stair tower below us. It was longer and more raw than any human shout, shaking the hollow steel structure and vibrating my ribs. The voice sounded like a man's, but so wild and guttural it barely seemed human. Panic took over instantly. Logan bolted first, sprinting toward the exit. The twins, Ben and Ely, followed swiftly, their track star speed barely touching the ground. Marcus grabbed my sleeve and yanked me into motion before fear could freeze me. We ran blindly through the packing room, clouds of flour dust exploding with every step. The slick concrete made it hard to keep balance, but we pushed on toward the side hatch. Cold night air hit my face as we burst outside. But the scene had changed. A small group of about 10 people, wrapped in sweaters and sleeping bags, stood quietly in the yard. Their eyes reflected our flashlight beams like mirrors. They didn't speak or block our path. We squeezed through, hearts racing, desperate to escape. Back at our cars, hands trembling, we locked the doors and stared back at the dark mill. Nothing moved. The scream was gone, but that night left a fear none of us forgot. Fisher Mills held secrets too terrifying to face again. A quiet drive turns into a nightmare. An abandoned house hides dark secrets. Dead animals hung like warnings, and a chilling chase by a dangerous stranger begins. Could this be just a random attack, or something far more sinister? Stay tuned to uncover the terrifying truth. The terrifying roadside encounter with the coyote skins. In a small farming town near the Arizona-Mexico border, life was quiet and slow. One day, after driving my mom to work, I was bored and wanted to get out of the house. I picked up a friend, and we drove around town, chatting and enjoying the sunny day. As we explored, I noticed a huge eucalyptus tree near an old house I had never seen closely before. The house looked abandoned. The door was wide open, and the windows were broken. I didn't want to stop, but my friend insisted we pull over and see what was inside. Reluctantly, I turned into the overgrown driveway. My friend jumped out excitedly, but I stayed near the car, smoking a cigarette and feeling uneasy. The yard was covered with weeds and brush, left unattended for years. It felt strange, silent, and unsettling. Little did I know, this abandoned house was about to reveal something terrifying. Something that would change the rest of my day. As I wandered around the overgrown yard, my eyes caught something strange hanging from the dead branches of an old wooden trellis. It was a dead coyote, its fur dried and blood long dried, hanging like a gruesome decoration. The sight made my skin crawl. Looking closer, I saw many more animal carcasses scattered around, some hanging from branches, others lying sprawled on the ground. There were pelts and entire animals, their lifeless eyes staring blankly. The scene was horrifying, like a dark ritual had taken place here. Feeling a growing sense of dread, I shouted to my friend, "Let's go now." I quickly got back into the car, my heart pounding. My friend ran to the car, confused by my sudden fear, and I pointed toward the dead animals. We drove away in silence, the weight of what we had seen pressing heavily on us. That strange day only got worse, and I soon realized that what we stumbled upon was more than just an abandoned house. It was a place of dark secrets and danger. Later that day, while trying to call my friend from a payphone near home, a pickup truck started following me aggressively. It came up fast behind my car and never slowed down. I realized he wanted to hit me on purpose. With no other cars around, the truck forced me off the road several times. I drove fast, scared for my life, reaching speeds up to 80 mph on small streets. My hands shook, but I kept focused, trying to lose him. Finally, I saw a police car and hoped for help, but the officer only told me to go home and get some sleep. The truck returned, roaring as it hunted us again. My friend told me to stay strong, and I kept driving until the truck finally turned off and disappeared. I made it home safe but shaken. When I went outside, I found a taxidermy, quality black coyote lying on my father's car hood. A chilling reminder that the danger was far from over. A midnight dare to explore a closed motel leads to a shadowy figure and fear that won't fade. But daylight reveals a shocking truth. Or does it? Something unseen still haunts the lobby, leaving a question that chills to the bone. Don't miss this eerie tale that will keep you looking over your shoulder. The Haunted Mountain View Inn Motel Experience. In 2018, I was living in Charleston, West Virginia, right across from an old motel called the Mountain View Inn. It had been closed for years because of mold and safety problems. The building was boarded up but had become a popular spot for graffiti artists and teens looking for a scare. One chilly October night, my friend Dave came over. After watching a movie and drinking tea, we felt restless. Around midnight, we stepped out onto my balcony and looked at the dark, silent motel across the street. Dave jokingly dared us to check it out. Surprisingly, I agreed. We crossed the empty street, our hearts pounding. The motel rooms faced outward with many doors open or missing. The air smelled heavy and damp. Nervously, we started exploring, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. This was the start of an experience that would leave us shaken and questioning what we had seen. We walked quietly around the motel, stepping carefully through tall weeds growing through cracks in the asphalt. Most rooms had their doors open or missing entirely. Inside one room, the floor was scattered with used syringes and trash. The air smelled stale and musty. The place felt abandoned but still alive with an eerie energy. Dave wanted to see the lobby next. Unlike the rooms, it was more securely boarded, but a side entrance was partially pried open, just wide enough to squeeze through. My heart pounded as we stepped inside. The lobby was cold and dark, with only small beams of streetlights shining through cracks. Suddenly, I noticed a tall figure near the reception desk, partly hidden in the shadows. I froze, my heart nearly stopping. Dave saw it too. The figure didn't move but stood silently watching us. Fear took over. After a tense moment, Dave whispered, "We need to go." Without hesitation, we turned and ran out of the building. Our footsteps echoed in the empty space as we escaped, convinced the figure would chase us. But nothing followed. Still, the feeling of being watched stayed with us long after we left. Days later, feeling braver, Dave and I returned to the motel during daylight, hoping to put our fear behind us. The place looked less threatening under the sun. We squeezed through the same side entrance and walked into the lobby. To our surprise, the tall, shadowy figure we saw before was still standing near the reception desk, but now clearly visible in the daylight. It wasn't a person at all, but a cardboard cutout, one of those promotional displays hotels use to advertise their websites and bookings. Relief washed over us, and we laughed at how scared we had been of a cardboard man. Ready to leave, something caught my eye, a shadow moving quickly past one of the boarded windows at the back of the lobby. The laughter died instantly. Dave noticed my silence and followed my gaze. We waited, but nothing else moved. We left quickly, both unsettled. The question stayed with me. If the cardboard figure wasn't real, then who or what had actually moved behind that window? The mystery of the Mountain View Inn still haunts me. Thanks for watching. If you love real scary stories that keep you on edge, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to never miss an update. What do you think was the real cause of the strange sounds, shadows, and chases in these tales? Share your thoughts below. Don't miss our next video, a strange stairway in a remote forest ridge, true horror stories. Stay safe if you can.